Time, an elusive and omnipresent entity, remains a mystery, woven into the fabric of existence itself. Imagine a river, its waters flowing continuously, never ceasing, never pausing. This is how we often perceive time, an incessant, unstoppable force that carries us along in its current. It's a concept that has captivated our minds since the dawn of consciousness, a puzzle that philosophers, scientists, and thinkers have grappled with throughout the ages. And yet, despite its fundamental role in our lives, it remains largely an enigma. Time is a paradox. It's both tangible and intangible, concrete and abstract. We measure it, segment it, schedule our lives around it. We feel its passage in the graying of hair, the deepening of lines on our faces, and yet we can't touch it, hold it, or see it. It's a construct, a human-made system designed to bring order to our chaotic universe. But is it more than that? Is it a fundamental part of reality itself, or is it a mere illusion? The relationship between humans and time is complex and multifaceted. On one hand, we are slaves to it. We race against it, constantly aware of its ticking clock, acutely conscious of its finite nature. On the other hand, we are its masters. We manipulate it, bend it to our will, shape our world around its constraints. We've built civilizations, created technologies, and explored the cosmos, all in our quest to understand and control this elusive entity. The concept of time has shaped our history, our culture, our very identity as a species. It has driven our curiosity, fueled our imagination, and defined our existence. And yet we have barely scratched the surface of its true nature. What is time, really? How does it work? Why does it exist? These are questions that continue to baffle us, questions that we may never fully answer. The clock continues to tick, but does it govern us, or do we in some way govern it? To comprehend our relationship with time, we must journey back to the dawn of civilization. The sands of time take us to ancient societies, where the perception of time was a lot different from what we know today. Imagine yourself in the heart of ancient Egypt. The desert sun begins to rise, casting long shadows that shift and slither across the sand. Egyptians, masters of ingenuity, harnessed the power of the sun to measure time. They invented sundials, simple yet effective tools that tracked the sun's movement across the sky. With these sundials, they divided the day into 2 sets of 12 hours, a system that we still use to this day. Now let's journey across the Atlantic to the lush tropical lands of the ancient Mayans. Here, the concept of time was not just a means of measurement, but a complex, sacred entity interwoven into the very fabric of their society. The Mayans developed intricate calendar systems that went far beyond tracking days and years. They believed in cycles of creation and destruction, with each cycle lasting for thousands of years. Their long count calendar, for example, spanned an astonishing 5,125 years, indicating a perception of time that was both vast and cyclical. In both these civilizations, the passage of time was not a mere counting of seconds, minutes, and hours. It was a dance of celestial bodies, a rhythm of seasons, a cycle of life and death. Time was a force that shaped their lives, their beliefs, and their societies. They built monuments, created rituals, and devised calendars, all in an attempt to understand and harness this elusive entity. The ancient Egyptians and Mayans may have been separated by oceans and centuries, but they were united by a common fascination with time. It was this fascination that drove them to observe, to invent, to explore. They sought to grasp the ungraspable, to chart the unchartable, to tame the untamable. Thus, mankind's fascination with time is as old as civilization itself. As humans evolved, so did their understanding and perception of time. The journey of time tracking has been quite a fascinating one. From relying on the sun's positions to using water and sand clocks, human beings have always found ways to measure time. However, the invention of mechanical clocks around the 14th century marked a true revolution in our relationship with time. This wasn't just a new gadget, it was a device that fundamentally altered how we lived our lives. The mechanical clock, with its rhythmic ticking and talking, introduced precision and regularity to our understanding of time. It broke down the day into hours, minutes, and seconds, units that were consistent no matter where you were in the world. With the birth of the mechanical clock, time became tangible, something we could see, hear, and touch. It was no longer just about the rising and setting of the sun or the emptying of a water clock. Time was now a universal concept, uniform and unvarying. This change was not just philosophical, but practical too. The The uniform divisions of time allowed for a more structured society. Work hours could now be clearly defined, schedules could be made, and punctuality could be expected. The hazy flow of time was now replaced by a rigid framework, around which our lives began to revolve. But this rigidity also came with its own set of chains. We were no longer just living with time, we were living by the clock. Our days became governed by the ticking hands of the clock. We woke up to alarms, worked in hourly shifts, ate at specified meal times, and even slept when the clock told us to. In a sense, the invention of the clock made time a ruler, a dictator that we all bowed to. It was a profound shift, one that has shaped our lives and societies in ways we often take for granted. The invention of clocks, thus, marked a significant shift in our relationship with time. In the realm of modern science, time takes on a whole new dimension. In the realm of the quantum, time is no longer just the ticking of a clock or the flip of a calendar page. Instead, it's a fluid and flexible entity that bends and stretches, influenced by the forces around it. This is a concept we find in Albert Einstein's theory of relativity, where time and space are interwoven into a four-dimensional fabric known as space-time. Now let's take a moment to consider the idea of time dilation. This is a fascinating phenomenon where time appears to slow down or speed up, depending on one's frame of reference. Imagine you're traveling near the speed of light in a spaceship. To you, time might seem to flow normally, but to an observer on Earth, your clock would appear to tick slower. This isn't a trick of perception, but a real measurable effect of traveling at high speeds. Yet it's not just speed that can warp time. Gravity, too, has a role to play. In fact, the stronger the gravitational field, the slower time runs. This is why time passes slower for someone at the base of a mountain compared to someone at the top. But let's take this a step further. In the realm of quantum physics, time is seen as a dimension, much like the three dimensions of space we're familiar with. This means that time doesn't just flow forward, but can also take on a more complex, multi-directional nature. In this quantum landscape, particles can exist in multiple places at once, and events can occur in multiple orders. Time, in this sense, becomes less of a straight line, and more of a web of possibilities. So, as we delve deeper into the mysteries of the universe, our understanding of time continues to evolve. We're beginning to see it not just as a relentless march forward, but as a flexible dimension that's intricately woven into the fabric of reality itself. In the quantum realm, time is not just a ticking clock, but a complex, intricate dimension. As we delve deeper into the mysteries of time, we are left with one profound question. Are we truly bound by time? We've journeyed through the sands of ancient civilizations where time was a divine element, a celestial rhythm that guided humanity's early footsteps. We've witnessed the birth of clocks, from sundials to atomic timekeepers, altering our very perception of time. We've peered into the quantum realm, where time, in its most fundamental state, dances in a realm beyond our everyday understanding. Yet here we stand, contemplating if we can ever break these temporal chains. Can we sidestep the tick-tock of the clock? Or are we forever bound by the relentless march of seconds, minutes, and hours? Can we ever transcend this fourth dimension, or are we destined to remain mere spectators in this cosmic theater?